Today I have an episode full of new items that didn't feature previously in my podcasts. Hi everyone and welcome back to Stitch and Thread, the channel where we dive deep into the world of knitting with a sprinkle of embroidery here and there. If you're new here, my name is Anna. I'm a knitter based in the UK, and today I'm thrilled to finally record a knitting podcast episode for you, where I will show you finished projects as per usual, a few of my works in progress, as well as a few acquisitions in the end as well. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, grab your yarn, your needles, and let's get started. I feel it has been a while. I think my last podcast episode was recorded mid-December, and now it's end of January, and let's see how it goes. My first project and finished project that I'd like to share with you is Sola socks by Ventzel. Let me just pick them up, and here they are. Not quite sure how to show them actually. That's Sola socks by Ventzel. They're knitted from the cuff down in a nice kind of pattern all the way around, and then after the heel, it's just on the top you have the pattern. At the bottom it's just talking as a stitch. So this is not like a finger in weight. Socks is a much heavier socks, which I needed for my husband. He's currently wearing a pair I needed for him, also in this kind of DK weight, and I think he would benefit from having another pair that he can use. So that's the size. I think Ventzel had quite a few sizes, so obviously you can knit for as long as you want, but also I think that there were quite a few sizes for the cuff, because depending on your size you might need more stitches. So I fold the pattern to the T apart from the ribbing. The ribbing, she has like kind of folded over a ribbing in twisted rib. I mean, honestly, I don't know how long it would take to make, so I decided not to do it. I don't think my husband needs it anyway. He's not like me, his kind of ankles are not too cold. So I've just did 40 rounds of twisted rib. I think it works quite well. That's, I think, the only modification, and that's it. So I've used Drops Fabel for my socks. It's not what is recommended, and Ventzel is using Garn chunky sock yarn. I've never even seen it sold here in the UK, so it wasn't an option. And this is Drops Fabel, just a regular yarn. So I held it double, so it has 205 meters and 50 grams. One interesting thing, I thought I would be clever and make my project more transportable. Is it a word? More portable rather. And I've seen people knitting from one ball using one strand, from the outside, and one from the inside. And I decided to do the same. However, it was a disaster. I managed to knit quite a few rounds at the time, and I didn't really want to rib back when I realized I just can't continue. It just wouldn't work, because twisted rib takes time and it's quite harsh on your hands as well. So in the end, I just cut the yarn, the inside one, and grabbed another ball. So I don't know if it's just me and I'm not being lucky, or there is a special trick to do it, but I couldn't figure it out, because my yarn was always tangled in the inside. I will always pull in some bits and pieces. So at the moment I feel like never again. Also, I've used 4mm needles. I was really happy I can utilize my new Chagu shorties and just knit in short circumference in the round. I probably wouldn't be able to do it for my own socks because of the size, but for my husband it was just perfect amount. I could just knit in the round. As someone who doesn't really like magic loop, I can knit using DPNs, and for the heel I actually switched to DPNs because it's easier. But then as soon as I could and picked up stitches, I was using my shorties yet again. So if it's something that you consider, maybe you don't like me, magic loop, maybe it would work for you. In any case, with Chagu shorties you can just buy like a special set, just one size needles to try, so you don't really have to buy the whole set. But anyway, it's really happy with the knitting. Yes, and one thing I didn't mention, that's what happens when you don't have podcasts for a while. When I was knitting these socks, the stitches, maybe because I was holding Drops Fabel down, I don't know, or maybe the pattern, they were so uneven. They were so wonky, I guess, and I was a bit worried that they will stay that way. There's just the yarn. Maybe I shouldn't have held it double, but the blocking did magic to the socks. Just everything. I mean, I wouldn't say it's perfect, but in comparison how it used to be, that looks stunning, to be honest. So I'm really pleased with them, and I actually have quite a few plans for knitting socks, because I need quite a few socks for myself and for my children. My daughter keeps on asking for socks as well, as she seems to be growing out of the ones she currently has. The next project I'd like to share with you, and this one is actually not new if you've been here before, it is Sonya shirt by Susanne Müller. It is kind of a nice oversized a bit looking t-shirt with a nice neckline, but it has a very interesting construction which I really wanted to try, but it resulted in me going all over the place. So if you have been here before, you might remember the drama. I'll just try to show you what I have right now, and just to remind you what was before. So before, when I featured this t-shirt, I think in autumn sometime, I've just needed the back panel, just maybe this amount, and that was it. And the problem is I actually needed it twice. So first I did a swatch, as you do, and it was okay. I was fine with the recommended needle size, but it was 3.5, and I started knitting. I just realized it's just too big, and I didn't really like how open fabric was. The stitches kind of didn't look very nice. I didn't really want too much air, even though it is a t-shirt. I understand it's kind of, I will be using it in mid-season, in spring and autumn, I guess. In the UK it could be summertime, so you never know. So I stopped. I decided to block the fabric, and just to see maybe kind of it stinches in, but it didn't. So I think that last time I needed the second back panel using the needle size like one down, so it's, I believe it's 3mm needle size right now, so it's much lower than recommended by the designer, even though I'm using the yarn that she recommended, and I'm using BC Garn Bio Balance Gods. I think color silver. I will put everything in the description anyway, but I think the design is stunning. It has lots of interesting details. You have like short rows here, you have this lovely kind of line. Anyway, over the Christmas period, I kind of somehow ran out. I've finished lots of projects, and I felt like I would like to have some stockinettes stitch project, and I didn't have anything at the time, and I decided to take this out of the hibernation, because I kind of gave up on this and thought I would just work it out in spring. So I took it out, and I did quite a lot of progress. Right now I think I finished one ball of yarn, and I thought for this project to kind of have a proper feel for it, I would like to do the neckline. So I think, and possibly even a ribbon for the sleeves, whatever is left of them. So that way I would know exactly how big this t-shirt is, or maybe even block it too. So I would see exactly how much positive ease I have, because the reason I got a bit discouraged about this project is because I couldn't even figure out, and you don't really have any schematics in here, and because you kind of need straight away like the sleeves and the back panel, you don't, you see kind of the measurements, but it doesn't really give me at least the, without schematic, the idea how big my garment is going to be. But anyway, over the Christmas period, I really enjoyed working on it. But even so, I still do not consider it to be like my main project, because you know, I won't be able to wear it anytime soon. So as soon as I finish this ball of yarn, it's kind of like sitting again in the cupboard, and I think I will probably get back to it like in March, unless again I will need a project which kind of doesn't require a lot of involvement. So the next project is the one I would call my main project on the go right now, and the name is, let me just pronounce it just a second, Raunioiset Junior Cardigan by Suvi Lyytikäinen. I'm just looking at my notes because hopefully I didn't butcher someone's name. A lovely viewer from Finland pointed out that the name of the pattern, the Raunioiset, is the name of a type of a fern, like a split word, I believe was the name, and it's that very plant is featured in the yoke, hence the name. So let me show you finally the piece. And as I say, I don't think I featured it either on the podcast, but this was the main piece I was working on. You start this cardigan and knitting the I-cord for the neckline all the way here, and you do it in a most fascinating to me way. I've never had it before. You sort of create this long tube, but inside of your tube you have a barber cord for the stitches, which are kind of meant to be picked up. You can just do it normally, like a normal I-cord tube, but then you would have to pick up stitches. And this cardigan is quite dark, so I wouldn't be looking forward to it. And I must admit, that was a revelation. Once you finish the I-cord, it's quite long. I think I had like 90 rows or something. You finish the I-cord and your barber cord is in there, and you just slide your needles into that I-cord, and you're good to go. It was just amazing. I really like this touch by the designer, because straight away your cardigan looks kind of polished, and not only you're kind of done with the I-cord for the neckline, once you pick up, you know, once you have all the stitches on the go, you also straight away are doing I-cord for each edge, left and right. So basically, once I finish knitting this cardigan, I will not need to do I-cords all over the place. It will be done. And I think it's quite nice. It's not difficult to do, and I think it's such a great idea from the designer. I'm just really liking it. And what's even better, in the pattern you have links to videos for these kind of special techniques. Like just a couple of days ago I finished the first sleeve, and there was a technique in a video how to finish the I-cord with the Kitchener stitch. Beautiful. The only thing is that videos are kind of silent videos, so you are meant to watch what the designer is doing. I mean, I can understand. I would like to have, you know, the English voiceover, I guess, but, you know, she's from Finland, so she might not speak English. Fine. In any case, all these kind of details, they are there. So if you're confused, I mean, there is a description in the pattern, but if you're like me, I'm still consider myself a beginner knitter, I found it very useful. So I can highly recommend the pattern. So even if you're lost a bit in places, I wouldn't really say it is a very easy pattern. It's, if you like it, like I really love this pattern, I think you'll be fine. But it's probably not the first cardigan I would think would be easy to do. Like, for example, one of the main features is that, just like I said, it's these fern pieces, and look how gorgeous they are. I absolutely love them, and I think they look really nice on lighter yarns as well as dark yarns. And again, very nicely done. The designer also incorporated increases for the yoke inside of these ferns, so you can't see a lot of increases. And I think it's just a lot of things in this pattern they're so thought through. Moreover, one more thing is then when you're knitting again the cardigan with the I-cord, you're also making holes at the same time for, like I have here, like, and probably everywhere, I have holes for for the button band. Yeah, so in the end, all I will need to do is just to add some buttons. But again, I already have buttonholes, I already have I-cord edge. I'm really impressed. I mean, honestly, this project, A, it taught me a lot, and B, I just realized how thoughtful some knitwear designers are. And I mean, it's a new designer to me, Suvi, Lyytikäinen, but I'm just saying it out loud. I'm really grateful. I think this cardigan has lots of nice features, and even though I'm knitting this cardigan for my daughter, I believe it's size 10, I'm knitting the largest size. There is an adult version, so even though it is a child version, I'm sure it's all, you know, probably graded slightly differently for adults, but it's the same for adults as well. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe eventually I'll do one for myself as well. And just before I forget, I didn't really mention the yarn. I'm using Lana Gatto Merinocot, and it's a mix of merino and cotton blend in this kind of lovely blue color. I really like it. I mean, I think from far away it just looks blue, but it has some depth to it. I think because it's a mixture of cotton and merino, and I guess they dye differently. It is a really nice color, and I'm really happy, as you can hear probably. I'm really happy with this project. In just like over a month, I guess, I did all of this body. I mean, I probably still a lot to go, but still I finished one sleeve, so I know actually how much yarn I used. And it was really funny. I finished this sleeve using one ball of yarn. Exactly, I have like 3 meters left. Probably could do, you know, a couple of more rows if I so desire, but I wasn't sure how much yarn I would need for an I-cord in the end. So in any case, I know I will need one more ball for the second sleeve, and whatever I have left, and I believe I still have 4 balls left for the garter stitch pattern. I mean, the one thing about the garter stitch is that I think it's a very hungry stitch. I feel like I keep on finishing the balls, but it doesn't seem to grow. In any case, my daughter can't wait for me to finish this project. So I better get going. So the next new project on my needles, but the one I probably talked at length a couple of times at least in my seasonal plants videos. So if you haven't watched that and you would like to know what to expect from me, please watch them as well. You will get an idea. On my needles is a Polina Pullover by Teti Lutsak, a Ukrainian designer, and this pullover was inspired by naive art by Polina Pullover. It is a self-taught Ukrainian painter, and unfortunately the house which was full of her work was destroyed. So sadly, a lot of her work has been destroyed, and this Teti Lutsak decided to create a pattern inspired by her work. So this is it. Honestly, ever since this pattern came out, was in love and dreamed of making it. So on the 1st of January, I decided to make myself a present, and I started on this lovely pullover. So a couple of words about the pullover. It's knitted, as you can see, from the top down in the round. It features a quite a large botanical motif on the yoke as well as on the sleeves. We'll get there when we'll get there. As for the neckline, there are a couple of options you can use for the neck. I've chosen just a simple crew neck. There is a ruffled mock, double folded neck, as well as crew neck. One modification actually I have already done to this project is that very neckline. I've increased the amount of rows, I believe by maybe 7, quite a few rows more for the crew neck. That's how I decided to do it. So we'll see. I've already done some short rows for the shaping, and now I'm working on the actual botanical motif, and that's quite amazing. I don't know why. I feel when I was working, I felt like I'm craving color work. I just finished a couple of color work hot water bottle covers end of last year, so it's not like I haven't done color work in a while. But it is addictive. It is really addictive, and I'm really happy with how this turns out. I think even the color, I wouldn't say this kind of caramelly color is something I often wear, but I feel this combination really works on me. We'll see. Actually, speaking of yarn, I'm using for this project the Rerum Natura Ulysse in color Poivre blanc. as well as caramel. That's the color caramel here. And one thing I realized when I started knitting this pattern is that it's a very different feel to this yarn to kind of other yarns I've used, and I looked into it. It is very soft, so don't get me wrong, but it's a very plump, it's just very interesting feeling. And I realized that the difference is that this yarn is woolen spun in comparison to worsted spun. So it's a very different feel, but again, I read that woolen spun yarns work very well for colorwork patterns because they kind of fill in the gaps with a bloom, with the blocking. So I'm really looking forward to it. My swatch, when I kind of blocked it, it looked very well. So, but I didn't really do color work swatch for it. I just did not know a regular, and I'm using the recommended needles by the designer. Actually, not true. I started using the recommended needles when I just was here, just before hitting color work. But then I decided to go one size up for the color work itself, mostly because I feel from my previous experience that my color work tension sometimes could be tight, so it kind of makes sense, but the designer doesn't really recommend, so it's purely on me. So far I feel, even though I went up the size, I think it works quite well. I guess we'll see, but I'm really happy how this turns out, and as I say, knitting this is pure joy. It is interesting that my daughter saw me knitting this a couple of days ago, and she was like, "Mom, what are you doing? What is this project?" And I explained it's my new sweater, and she gave me this look. You know, she's just turned 10, so you can begin to have a more meaningful conversation and she can express her opinions. So I was like wondering, what does that look mean? And I asked her, and she was like, "Mom, but you have this and these projects, you know, my cardigan. I'm like, why do you need another one?" And it got me thinking. So obviously she's already judging me. She's basically telling me I have too many projects already on my needles, and not only on my needles. I wonder what you think when it becomes like too many projects. When is that line? How many projects are too many? Please let me know in the comments below. I mean, what is your like maximum limit maybe, or minimum limit? I don't know. Or you're only working in one project? Because I realized I probably am not monogamous knitter. I quite like to have at least a couple of projects on the go, like one maybe for TV, something relaxing, or it could be just a small project like you know, socks, and one project more for, you know, when you have to think about something. And obviously I have a couple of embroidery projects which get neglected, I feel, sometimes, so maybe that's what my daughter was referring to. And yes, I was just wondering at what point you have too many projects, or should you just go with the flow? And as I just started talking about embroidery, I will try to put a video of something that brings me immense joy. I feel it's very different feeling I get from it. It is Japanese embroidery. It is quite special for me. I think people are, I guess, crafting in a different way, but Japanese embroidery I find so meditative, and at the same time you have so many different techniques you need to do. So if you don't feel like doing, you know, one thing, there's always something else you can do, and there are so many techniques that you can always find something that you're craving at the moment, while at the same time it is this embroidery is quite structured. So I have a new piece I'm working on. By new I mean it's like 6 months already on the go, and I find it interesting to compare Japanese embroidery with knitting, because I can hear sometimes people talk on YouTube how, you know, it was a slog. It took me so much time to knit something like on using fingering weight yarn, which is fine, we're all different. But I find knitting, even on smaller needles, still reasonably fast, I guess, and relaxing, while Japanese embroidery, you can embroider like one, say, plum flower or a cherry blossom, and it just, you know, it you maybe did like one tiny flower and took you 3 hours. So tell me about the speed. I think with Japanese embroidery, it's something I decided for myself to do maybe like one project a year because of the time dedication it takes, and also you need it to be in the right state of mind. Or at least I need to be in the right state of mind. But if any of you actually like Japanese embroidery, or you know someone who does, I'd love to know how do they find Japanese embroidery? What brought them to Japanese embroidery as well? Anyway, let's move on, and let's move on to acquisitions and kind of knitting acquisitions. The first acquisitions I would like to share with you is this combo, Ulysse Trio 2, which is like 50% linen, 30% cotton, and 20% lyocell yarn, and alpaca 1 by Ulysse. And this is lace weight. I believe it's in 50 grams, you have 400 meters. I should tell you that I was looking for this combo probably for more than 6 months. I really want to make a shorty by Ventzel, and I want to make it in the same combo that she did. So for some reason, I think Trio 2 mostly was sold out everywhere. I couldn't get a hold of it in this color. You could find it in many other colors, but not in that. And I really, really wanted a kind of a neutral combination, the one which Ventzel used. And yeah, once I saw it, I bought it like end of December, I was like, I'm having it, even though I'm not planning to knit it until at least springtime, if not summer. I'm really excited having this in my stash. Another purchase I've made, and it seemed to be again from Ulysse, this Ulysse Soft Fine yarn. This is 63% of alpaca, 26% silk, and 11% yak. And it's actually also quite a small ball. It's 25-gram ball and 150 meters, so quite a small ball. But the reason I purchased it, not because specifically I wanted to have this yarn, but I thought that something slightly thicker version might work very well. And I had this mohair. What is this? This is mohair by Canard. I purchased it for a different project a long time ago now, but I never used it. I wasn't quite sure, like, it was the hue of the color I just wasn't happy with, but I decided to keep it. I don't think it was maybe too late to return anyway. And I was keep on thinking, like, I don't really have, you know, anything to knit it with, and I thought that this together might be a very good combo. I think a few months ago I went to Loop in London shop. It was only yarn which I felt could be combined in color with this, because I was quite surprised to find out it's quite specific yarn, and possibly the shade, it might not be the best on me, but I feel like in combination to bring out a bit more bluish undertones would work much better. I'm thinking, and I think originally when I purchased it, I'm thinking of making a cumulus blouse per petite knit, but there is another contender which I kind of came across quite recently, and it is a Tinane sweater v-neck by Kadri. It is knitted on a slightly like thicker gauge, and so I don't know how when I will be doing my gauge, how it will work out, but depending on my gauge, it could be either of these two sweaters. That's it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're yet to subscribe, please do so. It will help to grow my channel. Also, feel free to follow me on Instagram if you would like some more regular updates about my projects, and I'll see you next time in my knitting podcasts. Bye!